you will notice that is a genuine Swedish plate on Ivy. It came as a gift from a patron. Thank you, Kent, for sending Jungelvrå. I hope I'm saying that right. It's the salted licorice candy, Marabou milk chocolate, and the Ahlgrens bilar, which is Sweden's most produced automobile. Marshmallows. It's really kind of cool. Whoops. 5-second rule. So, I'm home in Albuquerque. I'm not home in California. I'm at my parents' home, and there's a whole to-do list for me right now. But I just got to give you guys an update on the trip, how things are going, and what's new. About 26 hours ago, I was in Nashville, Tennessee, which is really funny because that's 1,200 miles. That should be 2 days of driving. I just kind of did a late night and then slept for 5 hours and finished it this morning. So I'm back in Albuquerque. And 2 days ago, I was still at VP Auto Parts in Charleston, North Charleston, South Carolina. So coast to coast, the country is about 2,600 miles. I think a little bit over that. Maybe in a straight line, but you know the highways curve up and down and all that stuff. So I've been doing most of it, and I've got another 800 miles to go tomorrow. I'm going to leave here probably 3 in the morning just so I can beat the heat of the desert. There's a lot of desert coming up. The whole eastern side of the United States is beautiful because it's just one big forest. The humidity is the price you pay for the green lusciousness. And there's so much cool stuff that I have shot, and I am thrilled to share all of it in what is now going to be a formal feature film. I'm going to turn Ivy's Big Adventure into a movie. So this is where the support on Patreon continues to help me get by so that I can produce great content for the Volvo community. Speaking of the Volvo community, 3 days remain on our, that's 6 in sign language. No, this is 3. This is 6. 3 days remain on the fundraiser, the GoFundMe, before I give the funds to Slow Rolling in California for their Slow Rolling Festival 2021. I would really like to get a bump in the fundraiser so that we can maximize the amount that they're going to receive. And I will be presenting that on Saturday at the car show. So I will share the link below. I would really encourage, I think I'm staring at a spider web. Sorry, I'm everywhere right now. I'm running on a lot of caffeine. I would encourage you guys to check out the fundraiser, watch the video for it. If you haven't, share it with your friends and family. Let's get behind this. It's something that I believe in very strongly as a community. 2 days ago, I was out there talking with Joe Lazenby from Susquehanna Spares at VP Auto Parts. He was there with a couple of cars that are getting sent off to Sweden, and he was saying, well, I don't want to sound like a broken record, Dave, but I have met so many great people over the last 4 decades in the Volvo community, and I've made such great friends all over the world. And I said, you know, me too, and I've only been doing it for this many decades. So it's something I really believe in. Slow Rolling has the scholarship program to put a kid through school. They have the parts shed, which helps people get access to parts that they need, because old car parts can sometimes be hard to come by and or expensive and really out of reach. So if somebody has a need, it could be low or no cost. And then the other thing is the getting kids behind the wheel of old Volvos with mentors and teaching them how to respect, repair, maintain, and drive an old car. You know, that really keeps the community growing. So I believe in all that. Check out the GoFundMe for that. And the next update is when I was in Charleston, I put a few parts on Ivy because I was at VP's warehouse. And she did a little bit of modeling, which is really cool. I put a 123 distributor, which if you have one, you know how awesome they are. There's a thing that happens in the rear axle of this car, and other 164 owners have said, oh yes, I had that when I had one, or I have that in my current car. And it's called the rear axle wind-up. When you're taking off, the whole thing kind of shakes a little bit, almost like the pinion angle is incorrect in the drive shaft, and it just has vibration on takeoff. Not the slipping clutch, because it's right after you finish engaging the clutch. So it's a thing that a lot of four-wheel drive guys deal with, and it's possible that that issue has nothing to do with the distributor, but changing the distributor, and also adding some parts in the trunk, to be honest, has taken care of much of that issue. It's all but gone right now. So perhaps the 123 distributor is the way to go. It's got 14 different ignition curves. I am experimenting with a lot of stuff because my carburetors have a slight ping at mid-throttle. I think they're leaning out. Otherwise, it's pretty good the rest of the way. Through the rev range, it idles better, fuel economy is consistent, and my timing is just dead on. However, installing the thing, there was some confusion with the cap. There was a number 1 circle labeled on one of the 6 spots, which I thought meant, oh, that's where wire 1 starts, for cylinder 1. It wasn't. That signal or symbol didn't mean anything, and what actually happened was I put the wires on now in the incorrect order, went to fire up the car. Joe was turning the key, and the backfire that had happened, it was so big that the rear muffler just went, and it exploded open. The car sounded great, and I put the clip on that on my Instagram, and I'll post again on it in a few days when I'm catching up on that. The stories are very up to date. The posts are about a week behind, and then the videos are even more behind, but you understand. So the muffler exploded, and therefore I needed to replace that. It was a muffler that I did at a shop here, just like with the rear axle issue with the seals. Aftermarket parts just ain't the same quality as Volvo parts. My aftermarket muffler that cost me $100 just for the part, and the bill itself was $600, and I had to get the exhaust system repaired somehow, and I didn't have the patience to just buy VP's system, which I think is $400 for the full exhaust. Anyway, it ended up costing me a little bit more down the road, but lesson learned: buy it right, and VP almost every time has the right part, the best price, and the right quality. More than that, I have put some straps on the muffler, so it's okay. It's holding in its place. I'm going to check that we're still recording because this is my 3rd take. The camera keeps running out of juice. Storage. Okay, so the muffler's patched up for the most part. I have a new exhaust system in the trunk. I also got new needles for the carburetor, so they're running a little bit better. Did some adjustments. It's more consistent now. Still could use a rebuild or at least adjustable jets on the Strombergs, but that's neither here nor there. In all of the states that I drove, California, Nevada, Colorado, Oklahoma, the northern tip of Texas, Arkansas, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Delaware, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Vermont, Maryland, New Jersey, New York. The worst drivers I have experienced are right here in New Mexico. Let me tell you, if you can learn to drive here and survive, you can make it anywhere. You could be fine in Chicago, Los Angeles, New York City. You'll be good. Don't think I encourage anyone to live here, but it is what it is. Now, the other thing is just the level of aggression on the road. What is up with people and their ego out here? Nashville, I heard, can be pretty tough too, but that's just been what my experience has been on the road. Now I'm driving sometimes early in the morning, late at night, just main interstate. I'm not in the city, so do with that information what you will. There are bad drivers everywhere because there are more of them in cities, but it just seems like the ego out here is pretty strong. The other thing is, from the beautiful forest that is the entire eastern seaboard, through Oklahoma until about the midpoint, it's nothing but greenery, and then it starts to get kind of flat and boring, and there's no mountain range until you hit the Sandia Mountains here. Everything's very gradual, even the Appalachian Trail. Highway 26 going to Interstate 40 from Charleston. Beautiful drive as you get into the border with North Carolina there. There's a little bit of great mountain passes. Beautiful rocks and all that, and trees and rivers, but the eastern Eastern Continental Divide is 2,613 feet, something like that, and it's very small. The Continental Divide out here will probably be twice that high, but the topographical prominence, which is the distance from base to peak of a mountain structure, is biggest here. Everything else is a little more gradual. I hope that makes sense. But it's kind of cool to see the bottom end of the Rocky Mountains as we're out here. Vermont has some beautiful hills too and mountains. Yeah, dude, Vermont's gorgeous, but everything was just quick. I'm dipping my toes. I got to get back to the East Coast. I love that whole part of the country. It's just so cool. There's stuff everywhere. There's toll booths, potholes, like you wouldn't believe it. It's beautiful. Didn't see any classic cars. Where is everybody? That's what I want to know. Saw like 3 Volvos in the whole country. Huh? I've done about maybe 9,000 miles, maybe 8,000. It was 5 to Gettysburg, 6 to Vermont, 7.5 down to the Carolinas, and then it was 1,200 miles yesterday. Pretty impressive, I think. That's kind of cool. So what else? We've got the movie. We've got the exploded muffler. Dude, that backfire was so loud. Everybody in the warehouse was like, "Is everyone okay? What happened?" Oh, I was embarrassed, but I had my ears plugged because I was prepared for something like that to happen. But I feel so bad. Oh, sounded great though. 3 weeks away is my birthday, the big 3-0. My mom's birthday is being celebrated tomorrow in San Diego, so I'll be driving down there. I'll leave here about 3 in the morning. Avoid the desert. I think I've already said that. And today I'm going to do a little bit of maintenance on Ivy. It's her 4th oil change, and I've got maybe another 1,200 miles of driving before the end of the big adventure. And I would like that to have fresh oil because I don't really have an opportunity between now and the next 1,200 miles. And it's at 2,500 miles so far. So it's time for another oil change. And just really looking forward to topping off the transmission and having a nice smooth ride out to California. I have a bunch of extra stuff I got to load up in the car too, so it's even going to be worse. Fuel economy, best tank was 26, following an RV, 65 miles an hour south. Worst tank is about 18. That's mountain grades up to 11,000 feet. This morning I had between 18 and 20, 21. So it's been pretty consistent here as we're gradually climbing. We're at 5,000 feet here. Going to drop back down to sea level. Raise the needles back up a little bit once we get past Flagstaff and start descending into the desert. So there's a lot of good stuff here. I've got to fix the swamp cooler, get ready for winter in the desert for my folks, and I know that there's like 5 or 6 other things that I wanted to mention that I'm forgetting. But the trip's going well, and we're doing fine. I can't wait to have a shower, a shave, and some rest. And I'll be editing a lot for the next 2 months. So, here's the videos that are going to come out. We have a couple of cars that I showcased from the Volvo Club of America meet in Gettysburg. There's like a 2-door Amazon wagon, turbo 16-valve B230 FT build. I guess that would be a B234 FT. There's a 265, that's the wagon that had the PRV V6. That has a V8 in it, which is really cool. And then we talked to both of those guys. Didn't get a chance to drive those cars or be driven in them to have an idea of how it feels. But both of them say that they're awesome, and I'll take their word for it. But also, I got to drive Joel Gleason, I call him Doc. He's got a 142, I think it's a 1972. It's like that steel blue metallic, beautiful color. And he's a great guy. He runs the Facebook group, which is like Volvo 120/123, 140, 142, 144, 240, all the way up. That's on Facebook. It's all the numbers and slashes. So check out that group. It's actually really cool to be part of that. The 164 group is going to be great. We had 3 164s at Gettysburg. There will be 3 at Slow Rolling Fest. It would be so cool to be somewhere where there's a 4th one and we can set a national record. Maybe Carlisle? I don't know. There's not a lot of 164s. I need to come back to New Mexico soon to help Ivy move along. Not Ivy. Oops. Amy. And then that 240 wagon. I was planning on hanging on to it for many, many years, but honestly, I found something that is going to be a beautiful and appreciating asset to replace it. If you spend enough time with the VCOA, you start to go, I want one of those too. Half of you already know what I'm talking about. The other half, you'll figure it out pretty quickly. But there are some, we don't ever stop being car people. So when an opportunity presents itself, we find a way to make it happen. Even if you say, well, I feel like everything's lining up because it's the right color and the guy who owned it is the same birthday as me and all that stuff. So we convince ourselves. There's a lot of freedom to life that I want to take that opportunity to really create good content. So we've got the videos, and there's the the support from Patreon's helping all of this become possible. So I just want to say thank you to everybody there, and the the movie's going to be fun. I'm really excited about that. There's going to be some great shots in there. There's already such cool stuff. Check out my Instagram at Mr. David Bello. Just some of the highlights from every day or day and a half or 2 days of adventuring. And this week has been a lot of vegetables, getting to and from places. Next week, or the weekend, is going to be a little bit of meat and potatoes. So beautiful cars, great scenery, back on the coast of California. But I really miss the East Coast, man. I met some great people out there, so it was just really cool. And then I have some other videos that I can make. Like I won't save everything for the movie, but the majority of stuff will be there. So the traditional episode structure for Ivy's Big Adventure will probably take a pause, and then the rest of the stuff will be filling in the gaps until the film comes out early in 2022. So that's all to say. Thank you again, and we'll talk soon. I have some more parts to put on the car, some maintenance, etc., etc. I feel myself fading, so I better get moving, get some more coffee in me, and get to work while I have some sunlight and some strength. It's good to be in the land of entrapment again. Thank you. Talk soon.